Let me ask you something straight up. Have you ever sat in front of a decision, knowing what you should do, and still feel frozen? See, you play it out in your head 100 ways, 100 times. You talk to your friends, you make a darn list. And then, nothing. You do nothing, and afterward, you chalk it up to being indecisive. But what if that's not it? What if it's not just a lack of clarity? It was a lack of self-trust. You're not indecisive. You just don't trust yourself. Welcome back to Hard Truths, the place where we break through the noise, challenge the way you think, and talk about the things that are really holding you back. So today, we're going to get raw, because this episode, it's about why you second guess yourself, how your brain tricks you into confusion, and what it actually takes to start trusting your gut again. Let's go. Here's what no one tells you. When you trust yourself, you don't need 72 hours of analysis to decide. You don't need permission from someone else. See, you don't delay, procrastinate, or even panic. Think about a time you experienced this. We all have. See, I recently had a conversation with a friend about the perfect temperature to target for cooking a brisket. I have never second-guessed my gut of 196 degrees. See, you just move, you act, you choose. So when you freeze, when you hesitate, that's not indecision. That's fear dressed up in logic. Because indecision is a defense mechanism. It gives you the illusion of control while keeping you from the consequences of commitment. And underneath it all, it's a fractured relationship with yourself. See, you don't trust your own wisdom. You don't believe your voice matters more than the voices around you. And that's where the loop starts. So let's break it. I want to get into some brain science here. See, your prefrontal cortex is where the decision making happens. It's the logic center. But when you got low self-trust, that part gets overworked. It doesn't guide you, it overwhelms you. And you fall into a loop of thinking to fear, to hesitation, to avoidance. Then goes and repeat. See, that's a cognitive loop. And every time you run it, you reinforce it. It gets easier to fall back into next time. Now enter cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. It teaches us that your thoughts creates emotions, which lead to behaviors, which shape beliefs. So every time you overthink and avoid, you're sending this message to your brain. And you're telling it, see, I can't be trusted. And that belief gets coded in. But here's the thing. Neuroplasticity tells us that we can rewire that. We can break loops, but not with more thinking. We do this with different acting. Let me get honest for a minute. You didn't randomly become someone who doubts themselves. That was trained, taught, and conditioned. See, maybe you grew up in a house where your decisions were constantly second-guessed. Maybe you made a big choice once and it just blew up. Maybe someone made you feel like your voice wasn't smart enough, wasn't strong enough, or even worth listening to. So what did you do? You internalized it. And over time, your voice got quieter. Your intuition got clouded. But let me be clear. You're not broken. You're not indecisive. You've just been living in a system that punishes inner clarity. And the good news? This can be rebuilt. Because self-trust isn't some mythical quality you're born with. It's a skill, a muscle. And like any muscle, it can atrophy or it can grow. See, in fact, research from Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading expert on self-compassion and emotional resilience, shows that individuals who practice self-kindness and curiosity when faced with uncertainty are far more likely to take decisive action because their self-worth isn't tied to the outcome. It's rooted in the effort. So the next time you feel that hesitation, that anxiety about choosing, it's not a sign that something's wrong with you. It's a signal that you have been given an opportunity to take a rep, to build trust, to show your brain you don't need another opinion, another analysis. What you need is movement of your own volition. And when you do that, you change the loop. You rewrite the narrative, and you finally start living like someone who trusts the person in the mirror. See, there's a difference between impulse chaos and grounded clarity. Impulse is reactive. It screams. Intuition, on the other hand, is calm. It whispers. You've got to get quiet to hear it. And then you've got to honor it, even when it doesn't come with a full roadmap. See, every time you act on your own voice, you train your nervous system to say, I can trust me again. So start with the small stuff. Decide what to eat without asking someone. Handle a situation without sending a text for input. Each moment builds. Each rep matters. Because inner trust isn't built through motivation. It's built through evidence. So let's dig deeper. Your reticular activating system, RAS, is part of your brain that filters what you notice based on what you already believe. So if you keep repeating, I'm always messing things up, or I'm not good at this, guess what? Your RAS will start scanning the world to make that true. You'll zoom in on failure, you'll ignore the wins. But flip that script, and your filter flips too. So start saying, I'm rebuilding trust with myself. I've made good decisions before, and I can do it again. And your brain will find proof. This isn't woo-woo. This is neuroscience. Let me share something I personally use. I call it the Trust Rebuild Protocol, and it follows 3 easy steps. First, act fast on small decisions. Think ordering food, answering the emails. Just make the move, no delay. Second, I want you to audit your language. Stop saying, I don't know, when you really do. See that phrase? It's a confidence killer. And lastly, track your wins. Every day, write down one decision you made, big or small, that moved you forward. See the pattern, build the proof. This isn't about ego, it's about consistency. Because the only way you trust yourself again is to show yourself that you can. So, all right, your challenge? For the next 72 hours, no outsourcing. No, what do you think I should do? No, I need someone else to say it's okay. You decide, you act, and you own it. Even if it's small, even if it's damn near messy, even if it's uncomfortable, and especially when it feels uncomfortable. Because the more you choose you, the louder your inner authority becomes. So let me end with this. You are never indecisive. See that label? That was someone else's projection. You were just silenced, shamed, and conditioned to second guess. But that ends here. Because the more you move, and the more you trust, the more you remember who you were before the doubt. This is Hard Truths. Tag me at Danny Livin, DANNYLYVIN, and tell me, what's the one decision you're claiming back today? Until next time, cut the noise, move with clarity, and trust the one person who never left you. Take care.